Yeah, I know that there's people. I know how hard. You ever smoke cigarettes, Shanti?
No.
Shanti Sharon is with us here.
I tried it when I was 18. My best friend smoked cigarettes, and when I turned 18, that's when she wanted to start, and I hit some of her cigarettes. But I think within like 2 weeks, I was like, I can't do this. I smell bad.
Yeah, I used to think you were supposed to smoke after sex, but then I realized there's just steam in the room. It really wasn't. Yeah. Bada boom, right? Anyway, but no, the whole idea of smoking kind of led to vaping, and people said it's better for you, which is like saying that it's better to fall from 6 stories than 7 stories.
Mm-hmm.
To me, it's all you're bringing stuff into your lungs. It's not good for you.
Mm-hmm.
And then the whole idea of what the cigarette companies have done over the years, giving you menthol cigarettes. The whole point behind that being that somehow, it's going to taste better and be better for you, and that doesn't fly out either. San Francisco here they've decided to ban sales of these vaping flavors and menthol cigarettes. You know what they still sell in the city? They sell candy cigarettes. Now, should that be banned? Candy cigarettes, the little kids pretend like they're smoking. Now, I think it's a novelty thing. You're not going to see it in 7-Eleven. But when I was a kid, they were everywhere. Yeah. Wrong guest. Look at the time. And to me, it's one of those kind of things that when you ask yourself, what's the right way to go with something like that? Mm-hmm. I mean, I think cigarettes should be banned. They cost. They're expensive to our country. I mean, tens of thousands of people die each year. Actually, hundreds of thousands of people are smoking-related deaths. Mm-hmm.
I think the tax going up on them is great. Recently, we just increased the tax on cigarettes, which makes them
It's actually working.
A lot more expensive, and I think that's great. Yeah, because I guess you're paying the price.
But the price. Is that social engineering though? And that's a good question. David Sweanor is with us here. He's an adjunct professor, faculty of law up in Ottawa, at the University of Ottawa, and he's a tobacco harm reduction expert. That's a lot of words, David, for just like, why can't people just learn these are horrible for them? Is it because they're the most addictive product on the planet?
Yeah, well, we look at the United States, you got tens of millions of people that are still smoking cigarettes, more than half a century after we came to understand that these things are particularly deadly. What's amazing is that, the death and disease is because of the smoke. It isn't because of the nicotine. And you were just commenting about is it like jumping off a 7th floor rather than a 6th floor sort of thing. If we look at smoking, in the risk, because just over half of all long-term smokers will die as a direct result of their smoking. If you can get nicotine without the combustion, then the comparison is really like saying it's sort of like jumping out of a 3rd-floor window compared to taking the stairs downstairs. The difference in risk is absolutely enormous. Cigarettes are in the range of 100 times as hazardous as other forms of nicotine delivery. As we saw in a big Wall Street Journal story today about the difference in risk between smokeless tobacco and cigarettes. But we know the same with vaping and cigarettes. We know about medicinal nicotine, things like patches and gum and lozenges and cigarettes. We're seeing it now with the heat-not-burn products. Anything that gets rid of the combustion, so you don't have to suck smoke into your lungs.
David, you and I talked once about how there's a group that's supposed to help vets who are smoking, and so when they call in, they're supposed to recommend alternatives. Like smokeless tobacco is not good for you, but it's nowhere near as bad as for you as cigarettes.
Yeah, it's any area in public health, Chip. Well, what we try to do is where we see risk, we reduce it. If I can't get you to not ride a motorcycle, maybe I can get you to ride it more safely, slower, with a helmet. If you're really keen on having sex with strangers, I'll talk to you about condoms. If you're using IV drugs, I'll talk to you about clean needles. If you're working in a factory with industrial equipment, I'll talk to you about the safe use of that equipment.
And if you're doing all that on a motorcycle at the same time, that's really risky.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, then I'll put you into the circus and I'll take half the winnings. But we've done this on so many other issues, and it's only where you end up with some of this moralism about, well, we're just going to tell you how to run your life. We shouldn't tell anybody about how you can reduce your likelihood of pregnancy or sexually transmitted infection. We'll just tell people don't have sex.
It's funny.
We won't talk about how to reduce your risk associated with alcohol use. We'll just tell you don't drink. We'll make it illegal. Or we'll say just say no to drugs rather than talk realistically about people who are using drugs. What can you do to reduce the risk? What can you do to make it more likely people can get off those drugs? And I think we owe the same thing to smokers. There's way more of them, and the differential in risk is so dramatic. And we just seem to keep doing things out of this moralist, abstinence-only approach that keeps more people smoking, more people dying. And that's not public health. I mean, that's a travesty.
I was read a biography of William James, Will James, who is a father of pragmatism. And he has a famous quote that it's truth is that which works.
Exactly. Yeah. What I've said on this issue for so long is that what I like about pragmatism is it works. And if you're dealing with people where we know from the neuroscience, we know from genetic studies, we know because of the role of nicotine on people's brains and how, we're all wired differently. Some people have very little likelihood of just totally quitting nicotine, tobacco, and smoking, doing it right away, doing it completely, doing it forever. It ain't going to happen, just like there's an awful lot of us who are not going to give up caffeine. What can we do to reduce the risk? And if you're one of those people who really needs or wants caffeine, and you're getting your caffeine from radioactive coffee, I wouldn't say you have to give up caffeine.
Yeah.
I'd say stop drinking the radioactive coffee.
David, the problem with this, and you know this too, again, we're talking to David Sweanor, adjunct professor from the University of Toronto, Faculty of Law, and I appreciate you being here. We all know this is that with certain religious groups and combined with politics comes this idea of it's almost like Calvinism. It's like, this is just, that's your path, so just follow that path. There's nothing you can do to fix it. And we all know that, as we mentioned before, pragmatism does work. We get in, we can help people, we can extend their lives, and sometimes when they see just incremental improvements, it gives them confidence to try for more.
Exactly, and give people options. I mean, if you're trying to get somebody to be more physically fit, something that works is give them lots of choices. Give them a city where they can go walking or they can go bicycling, they can play tennis, there's gyms, there's basketball. I mean, find out what they want. What doesn't work is say, well, Chip, I've decided you have to get into shape, so I've decided you're going to play squash every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 o'clock in the afternoon at a club halfway across town with some people you don't know, but that's what you're going to do. I mean, my chance of success at that is pretty darn low.
I love your take on stuff, Doc. I want to get you back on more and talk because it's and this is the truth. This is real medicine. This is real law. This is real public policy. It's just about helping move forward. And not this iron fist, ironclad approach, all or nothing, because that most of the time you get nothing. So can we'll get back to you again real quick? Thank you so much. Yep. Okay.
Good talking to you again,
Take care, guy. That's but I love that. I mean, I love that whole thought process.